Zan. I'm so happy that you could join me today.
Hi Justine, thank you so much. Lovely to be here with you.
So today I thought that we could start off a series of discussions by beginning with the Mediterranean diet approach. Have you heard of it before?
I've heard about it, would love an explanation.
Okay, so this is a question that comes up very frequently. It is a way of eating that I really try and encourage.
Can I ask you why specifically?
Okay, so there's been a lot of research done on the Mediterranean diet, and specifically in relation to chronic illnesses. The research began because they noticed that people who live in this Mediterranean type of area and who have and follow this type of lifestyle generally have a reduced incidence of all of these conditions.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's something worth trying and looking into.
Absolutely. So one of the important things to recognize is that the Mediterranean diet is not only about the food that we eat, it also relates to the type of lifestyle that it refers to. So people that are following this kind of lifestyle are generally also reducing stress levels in active ways and are following an active lifestyle as well.
When you say lifestyle and active, does it mean going to the gym? Does it mean siesta? What does it really mean?
Okay, so there are many different ways that people like to reduce stress in their lives. For some of them, that is a siesta, and that is taking that's taking active breaks within their days in order to ensure that whether it's something like a meditative practice that they follow, whether it's a book that they enjoy reading that helps to lower their stress levels, and then if you include some activity with this, it's going for a walk. It doesn't necessarily mean going to the gym, but also being more active in your day-to-day life as well.
Sounds good.
I think too many of us are sedentary at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. Wow, so sounds good. I'd love to learn and get into it.
Okay, so there's some examples that I've got to show you on foods when we come to the end of our discussion, but I wanted to give you the basis and the foundation of how the Mediterranean diet is implemented in practice.
Great.
So the foundation of the Mediterranean diet is actually based on foods like grains, whole grains, as well as fruits and vegetables. It also includes your healthy oils like your olive oil, your olives, avocado when they are in season, some of your nuts and seeds. It also includes your healthier proteins. Certain things like legumes in particular is very stressed on this type of eating.
Legumes as an example?
So an example of legumes would be things like chickpeas or beans, your different kinds of, I'm thinking to see if I've got some examples. I'll show you a little bit later some of the examples that I have, but there are many, including your soya beans as well. So things like edamame or even your natural soya beans, those are also included. A lot of people get confused and they think that the Mediterranean type of eating is more a vegan lifestyle.
It was just what I wanted to ask you. I don't hear anything about meat.
Okay, this can send many people into a bit of shock because one of the things that is encouraged is to be able to eat more of your fish, in particular your oily fish, at least once or twice a week, if not more frequently. And the stress here is on fresh and frozen fish as opposed to anything that is salted or smoked. The next protein that is encouraged is chicken in a lean form, so more your chicken breast or chicken that is not cooked with the skin on or removed before eating. And that can be included about 2 to 3 times a week. When it comes to red meat, the ideal is to eat it about no more than once a week or a maximum portion of about 300 grams.
Wow.
Okay, so it is something that a lot of people might not be so happy about.
Yeah, I think I'm one of those people. I love my red meat. And if I'm having red meat, any specific kind that's better?
So in general, we try and go for the leaner cuts of meat. If you are eating meat which has got a lot of fat on, which you can visibly see, that has a lot of saturated fat. And the type of fats that are highlighted in the Mediterranean diet are more your omega-3 fatty acids and your monounsaturated fatty acids as opposed to the saturated fats. So we're trying to move away from those. So definitely your leaner cuts of meat are more ideal, and also
Like
then,
beef, I'm sorry.
So beef, yes, absolutely, your beef, but also there again to remove any visible fat before preparation and to prepare it in a much lower fat way.
Okay, so grill, barbecue.
So barbecuing is still fine. You just have to watch that it's not getting burnt, because obviously the carcinogens when meat is burnt is much higher. There are also some conditions where eating red meat may not be advocated. So if your medical doctor has explained to you rather to eliminate any of the foods, even if they may be healthy, it's best to listen to their advice.
Absolutely, but obviously then you'd need to swap that protein base with another protein.
Correct. The one thing we haven't discussed is eggs, and they are a wonderful source of omega-3s and of protein as well. But when it comes to the Mediterranean diet, they suggest not eating more than 1 egg a day, and this is included also in baked products. So if you're using baked products, you have to be mindful of the fact that there may be eggs in there as well.
Wow, I never knew that.
Okay, so there's a lot to keep in mind. The last thing, before I come to explaining all the foods to you and showing you how to really introduce them into your diet, is dairy products. And here again, dairy is very healthy for us. It has a high calcium content. It contributes to vitamin D, which today is possibly more important than ever because it helps to build immunity. But when we eat dairy that is high in saturated fat, again, this is what we're trying to move away from. So when choosing dairy products, it's best to use low-fat products, whether it's milk or yogurt or a cottage cheese or any types of cheese as well.
Good, so I'm getting hungry.
You're getting hungry,
I
right?
am.
So let me give you some examples of what I've prepared to show you today.
Okay.
There's obviously a lot more variety than what I can show you today, but it's great to be able to have a look. So here you go. This is an oats porridge that I made, which was super quick and easy. So what I've done, I'll show you the actual raw ingredients. You take about 1/3 to about 1/2 cup of actual raw oats. I prefer to use the rolled oats because then they are more whole grain. Some people don't like the texture, and if you prefer quick cooking oats over the rolled oats, it's still better than not having them.
Okay.
So I've taken that with some chia seeds, about a teaspoon of chia seeds, and what I did first was that I soaked these together in boiling water for about 5 minutes. Some people prefer not to have to do the preparation early in the morning, so they do it the night before. And then you add some milk, literally put it in the microwave for about 2 minutes, or you can cook it on the stove if you prefer to do it like that. I've added some cinnamon onto that, and there are plenty of other ingredients that you can add in order to ensure that it's really tasty.
I'm thinking sweetness.
Okay, so for sweetness, a little bit of honey would be okay. What I enjoy doing is adding a fresh date or any other kind of fruit, so the date has a natural sweetness. If you don't want the sweet but you want more of a crunch, then adding some raw nuts, either like some almonds or even some walnuts are a great idea, which you can either chop or you can add in. Other seeds also come out really nicely. So when it's summertime, sometimes I don't cook it quite as much, and I add pumpkin seeds in. So then the oat is still a little bit more crunchy, and the pumpkin seed gives it a great crunch.
Okay, that's appealing.
Okay, so that's an option for breakfast. I'm now going to show you how to include foods for a snack. You're going to be very hungry by the time we finish, so I'm just going to move a few things out the way here. So those were your breakfast examples.
Can I taste this?
Of course, with pleasure. I don't think I added too much sweetness. So what I love about the chia seeds is it helps to keep you much fuller for longer, and it's got the omega-3 in it as well. The cinnamon that I added helps to also balance blood sugars.
So it tastes good, but for me it's missing the sweetness.
Okay, so you would need to add a little bit more sweetness.
It's a lovely texture.
Okay, good. All right, so that is breakfast.
First approval.
Right, good. Okay, then what I've prepared for you here is a lovely dish. This is low-fat plain yogurt. So the reason I prefer the low-fat plain is because then it doesn't have as much refined sugars. I've added some lovely blueberries for flavor. And then what we can add into that are, for example, some walnuts.
Could I add that to that, or is it overload?
You can. So again, it's about portion size. So even healthy food eaten in large quantities starts to put stress on the body. So it is still important that when you are eating healthy food that you focus on ensuring that the quantity that you're eating is right for your body. You don't ever want to be in a position where you are under-eating, and you also don't want to be in a position where you're overeating. Okay.
I get there quite often.
Okay, so balance is right.
Okay.
Balance is right. There's a huge trend now to also be able to intuitively listen to your body, to make sure that when you get to almost 2/3 to 3/4 full, that you just take a break and allow yourself to enjoy the sensations of the food. This is another aspect to the Mediterranean diet, the social aspect of it, that when you sit down to eat a meal, it's not just about eating the food, it's about the enjoyment factor as well.
Great.
Okay,
very,
so that's an
nice.
example. You can add other fruits as well for snack time. Then, my favorite for lunch, I could eat this every day. Okay, so here I've prepared a plate of food which has got your wonderful whole grains, which is quinoa. This is a red quinoa that I cooked. The salmon is seared with a little bit of olive oil just to still maintain the moisture, but the truth is you don't even have to use it. You can squirt some lemon juice over it. You can use a little bit of soya sauce, not too much because otherwise you're going to have a bit more sodium. A nice green salad to go with it, and to add some extra crunch, I've put some roasted chickpeas with that as well, which is the legume component. One thing we can add into that to make sure that there is more omega-3s are your lovely olives here. So olives and olive oil are a big component to the Mediterranean diet, but here again, we don't want to overload even the good fats. We want to make sure that the fats that we have are just the right amount without having too many. So in general, I'd say you would add either oil and olives at a meal and let that be the majority of fats that you're including.
Okay.
So bear in mind what you're using to cook with as well.
So, and obviously the more we're using this Mediterranean lifestyle, we're getting used to the quantities of each.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that is a good idea for a lunch.
Very good idea.
Snack times again, you can experiment with fruits and whole grains. Roasted chickpeas are another wonderful snack, which are on the salad. I'll show you maybe a little bit later in another video when we discuss about legumes, how that can become a real great snack.
That looks great. Of course I have to
taste it, definitely. So if you've got holes in your teeth, don't crunch too much.
Yum.
Okay, so what I used with that was a little bit of oil to roast it with, a little bit of salt and some spices. And it's just such a healthy snack, especially if you prefer a lot of nuts. This is a better way to go.
Delicious.
Okay, lastly is a dinner type of option. So typical to the Mediterranean diet is that they tend to eat their main meal at lunchtime and have a smaller meal at dinner time. And this becomes a wonderful way to also allow your body metabolically to settle with the food that you're eating during the day and to process it adequately. So, for example, this at dinner time would be having a lovely baked potato together with some low-fat cottage cheese. I've included a salad which includes some fresh broccoli. It includes wonderful tomato and some olives as well. And what you could do here if you wanted to would be to add some legumes as well. Sometimes it's nice to take the potato together with like a black bean kind of a curry if you want something a little bit more tasty and if it's winter time. So this is more of a summertime dish.
The salad looks lovely, but it's got no dressing.
Okay. All right, so let's add a little bit of olive oil here. So typically your salad dressings that you purchase in the shops are going to have a lot more sugars and salts. So the more you can make these kind of dressings at home and include natural products, the better that will be. So I would take about a teaspoon, no more, of olive oil and drizzle that over. You can add even some vinegars, a little bit of salt and pepper as well. And if there's like a salad spice that you like to include, that also works really nicely.
One thing I want to ask you is, do we need to change our shopping lists, the groceries?
So in general, when you're looking at the Mediterranean type of eating, whole foods are what you're going for. So many of us look at processed foods which are just so convenient, and we fill up on those in our trolley. The closer you can get to natural foods and whole foods, the better it will be, and that is definitely the way to go. So if you can start shifting and replacing maybe one at a time, a whole food for a processed food, then you're also moving towards the right.
Our grocery cupboard will eventually have the correct products.
Correct.
Great. Yeah, well, I think I'm ready for the first couple of days.
Excellent. And I think next time we meet, we can discuss grains.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming.